Good morning. Welcome to Core Conversations for a Thursday. We have the real Mia Mason joining us. Thank you so much for being with us today. All right, so we're going to have some fun with this as always. Just want to do a quick couple shout outs here. And shout out the podcast that dropped yesterday. Podcast. Have you subscribed yet? Hey, Mia. Kathy Barker Strack is our drop this week. Okay. Nice. One more thing and we'll get this going. We had Aaron Jones joining us yesterday. It was a great conversation about creating space and being sensitive to where people are at in their world. Not making assumptions that they're in a different spot, because you see things and everyone looks so polished and perfect. Sorry, 1 second. Hi, Blossom. Okay, Mia, I'll have you on just one moment. Library and solid. All right. So we are good. Kai, how are you doing? Dad goals as always. Wanted to quick shout out to my friend Travis, who has this clothing line called Alpha Crown Royalty, and is just rocking his sweatshirt today. And I have a quick question for you all. I get lots of compliments on this sweatshirt. I love hoodies, just for whatever reason, and I just thought that this was cool. I love the logo. I love what he's doing with this business. I'm always there to support people in their business. Now, I have gotten a lot of compliments on this sweatshirt. My question for you is, am I getting compliments because it's a nice sweatshirt? Or am I getting compliments because you see a guy wearing pink? Like, good for you wearing that color. And I have to admit, I have to be suspicious of that because I really like the sweater. Pink is pink. I just think that it's cool to just rock a nice sweater, nice logo. But I get this like pat on the back, like I'm brave enough to wear pink. You got it both? It looks good on me. I'm getting both. Yeah, I think it's both. But it's just interesting, right? Like we waffle with everything. There you go, Joel, feeling the pink. So that's the thing, right? Like that's in this world that we live in where we're navigating how to be sensitive, to be aware, to be inclusive, to be all these things, check these boxes with our words and our actions. That when we just do something because we want to do it, it makes me feel like, am I being performative in this moment to wear something to say that I'm not this toxic masculinity guy because, and let me prove it by wearing pink? Or am I wearing pink because it's pink? Am I wearing it because my friend has a clothing line and I want to support Black businesses? Am I being performative there? See how we can like run these games, overthink everything with what we're doing just because I'm wearing a pink hoodie right now. Let me just read your comments here. Both. It's a perfect powder pink, but brave is insulting. Thank you. Luckily, your hands. Oh, thank you. I think it's a cool sweatshirt and logo, but I would probably say both. A pink hoodie on a guy is more distinctive than a regular blue or black one. Where would you like? Hey, man, we're unraveling confined rules and expectations, right? Always perfect. Check out the back, eh? Yes, I said a Canadian. Feeling that. Anywho, so that's the thing. That's what I was thinking about today. Is I have not worn this with someone without someone giving me a comment, and then I start to overthink it. Right? How many things shouldn't be linked to gender? Right? Like that's the whole point of the day that we live in, is that we can be free and yeah. Right. One of the terms I've been using a lot is redeeming things. I used in the post yesterday about how Viola Desmond was the nation of Canada redeemed that moment of the wrongfully accusing and trying Viola Desmond by giving her a bill, making her the first Black woman, the first non-royalty featured solo on currency, that sort of thing. So there's these redeeming moments where we can choose to cancel something full out, outright, just lock it off, or we can redeem a moment. And I think that there's a lot of times in life where I'm trying to redeem something. I'm trying to just, with my words, life and expression, be like, this is a color. This isn't a woman's color. This is a color. I'm going to redeem it. So if this is what it takes for more guys to wear pink, me wearing this, great. That's not my intent, but that's great. I don't know, I'm going off on this tangent here, but I feel like I get mad when people start to just lock people in with certain things. Root Trees Pilates says, performative is always bad. Sometimes you got to take it, make it, and you can do something in principle and hope that the confidence catches up. Yes. I was thinking color to gender was weird even as a little kid. Just not true. JC. Right. Yes. Thank you. I should do that. I am going to link this sweatshirt here. And sometimes he shows up, I don't know, depending on his business schedule, but Alpha _ crowned _ royalty. I hope that's correct. Oh, I don't know. Anyway. Yep. Yes. The other reason why I like this is because the message is like crowned royalty, and I've been musing on this phrase, know your worth. It came up earlier in the week when Sunny was talking. It once again came up when I was speaking with Sarita, and I was wearing my So Am I t-shirt, which speaks to toppling our own imposter syndrome and recognizing that we have people in our world that are great, talented, gifted, whatever, and so am I. Just remembering that I actually am good at stuff too. I have things I'm passionate about and things that I'm equipped to do. So there's a reminder. And then once again, this shirt, that Alpha Crown Royalty is saying, like, we are royalty. We have a lineage beyond our Pilates lineage or whatever you want to say. Our heritage, our education, our strength makes us great, makes us pregnant with potential, makes us so powerful beyond belief, and we live on such a low level. So I love the fact that this shirt has that lion, has that royalty, has that kingship to it, and then it's pink at the same time. So it's toppling those mindsets. So shout out to him. And in the same way that that shirt and this Alpha Crown Royalty, so am I, all these different things come into play, I'm really challenged to think about it from the perspective of knowing that my worth is so much deeper than what people even perceive of me. And I had a few moments where I've been, in the last year, almost a year ago, I pitched to different people to do certain things, to say, hey, I'd love to have you part of this. I'm embarking on this mission. And I got no's and people not responding and stuff. And at the same time, I didn't feel bad about the rejection. I'm looking at where Core Conversations is now. I'm looking at the profile that Black people in general are getting now. I'm looking at the profile that all these things are happening now. And I almost feel like, look at me now to them, not in a prideful way, but like, I knew how much I was worth back then. And now all these things are happening and these voices are being amplified in this community. And you should have jumped in then, but you didn't know my worth. And it doesn't faze me, but I look back and know and feel good about the fact that I knew my worth back then, and it hasn't changed based on public opinion and popularity. That stayed level at a high place, knowing my worth. There's a commercial in Canada for banks where they say, you're richer than you think. And it talks about investing and knowing where you are, just proper strategies to be in a good place. And I think for every one of us, we are richer than we think. We are absolutely richer than we think. And we need to come to a place of recognizing our own worth and how rich we actually are. My wife's gone for a few job interviews, and I've been in the situation too where I'm going for a job interview, and at the same time they're interviewing me for the job, I'm interviewing them. Because in my head, I'm saying to myself, you need me for this role more than I need this job. I'm not bringing that across in a cocky way. I'm not bringing it across in a way that's like smug and overconfident, but we need each other here. I'm not groveling for a job right now. I have gifts, talents, skills, and abilities that will enhance your business. So you need me. So let me see if you are a person I want to learn from. Let me see if you are a person I want to work for. Let me see if you're a person I want to lock arms with. As much as you're seeing if I'm worthy to work for you, I'm seeing if you're worthy to work with me. So tying all those things together, that's what brings us to a place of understanding our worth in the marketplace, within ourselves, interpersonally, all those different things. And I feel like we sell ourselves short and we need to just rise up. And maybe that's just my calling to encourage you all to that, but recognize that you are richer than you think. That being said, the person who's coming on right now is someone I have been following for a very long time. We first connected through maybe Facebook or Twitter or whatever it was early in this fitness media game, and I saw Mia posting great exercises, and not only were her exercises great, but her content was so rich and it challenged us spirit, soul, and body. And I aspired to make my posts like hers, to do things she was doing. She was so ahead of me in terms of the number of followers and the things she was doing, and she was so educated. I don't want to like boost her up to the point where she, I'm making her larger than life, but I really saw her as larger than life. And it was the so my moment that brought me back down to life to say, she's passionate about women and empowering women by just being herself and just unapologetically being her beautiful self. And so am I. When I want men doing Pilates, or I want to get guys inspired to work out, or if I want to see women proud about their men because they're moving and not just trapped to a desk, that's the same stuff she was doing that I was doing. So we really, really, really kind of locked arms at that moment. And I feel like from those moments, she actually did something too that caught my attention. Is that I was doing some training with Viper, and she wanted to learn about Viper. So she reached out to me while we were like perfect strangers. And it was like, would you like to meet to do a workout so I could learn about this? And we met at a neutral gym that was summer central to both of us, worked out, have a nice life, and we've stayed in contact. And I would look forward to seeing her at CanFit Pro, and those would be the points where we connect. And then whether she was presenting or just helping out with something, I would make sure that like that was part of my weekend to just have a moment with her, to just chat, to hang out, to talk, catch up in real life, because we have this digital friendship. And sorry, I'm rambling, but it's one of those things I think is important to say. We connect with people and we have these digital relationships. And every now and then these digital relationships are with people that you know that you'd be friends with like in real life, and that they're going to transition into like real life tangible friendships. I know that's the same for a lot of us in this thread. There's people that we connect with, and like if we had borders open and stuff, I would totally be hanging out at so and so's studio as much as I can. So Mia is one of those people for me, and I love what she's doing, and I love the fact that our lives are running parallel in terms of what we're trying to do in this world. And she's made a pivot. She's in now firefighting, and that was interesting because we marry our passions, our skills, our talents, abilities, and she's bringing that into the mix as well. So I'm looking forward to this chat because this is the first time that we're connecting. So for those of you in the room, if this turns into just like an eyeball to eyeball conversation with people just watching, feel free to jump in the comment section, fire away questions and stuff. But like this is one of my people in the industry that like I'm forever cheering for. So I'm gonna bring her on right about now, and we're gonna get this going.
Hi, my friend.
Hi. Boost me, boost me. It's been a rough week.
What does
Please
that
shower
even
me in
mean?
compliments.
What does that even mean? Like,
Oh man.
people, like, I
It's,
look at
you know
you.
that I love hot and heat, and
Yes.
it's just for your followers. I know many are in the States, and I know even some of the southern state folk are dealing with this like cold snap, I'll call
Y-
it, to be like
Yes.
uh that 180 to extreme negatives from like seasonally mild eyeball roll that we were having prior was such a shock.
Yes.
Like my body is like full on power save mode. Like, so yeah, boost me, give me the energies, give me the like
Too
outside
funny.
effect of just like loving energy. I'm here for it always.
Yes, man,
um
nothing but love for you, honestly.
You know what's so funny? I was trying to recall, just to completely backpack off of your story about Viper. I couldn't remember if we ran into each other in real life first and then I saw the Viper thing and reached
Mm,
out, or if
mm,
I'm really just that like nosy and moreish. Like, did I really just like jump in the
cold.
messaging and like, hey, I'm interested in these things? Give me,
Yes.
wow, fabulous. So every
That's,
my
yeah,
parents taught me about not talking to strangers, just like
yeah, it baffled me. It's just like, this is the perfect stranger reaching out to.
correct.
I think the lone thing we had in common was the fact that we both did fitness.
You
Full
have
stop.
puppies? Let me get in your van. Okay, like hold
Yes.
on.
Do you want a lollipop, little girl? Yeah. So wrong.
Oh, that's fantastic. Wow, I'm proud of myself. Um,
Now, you brought your guy at that time too, right? Like you had your
I
backup.
think so. Yeah, I think it was just one of those things where like it was a central location. We were
Mhm.
gonna train anyway, and I'm like, I'm gonna meet a friend of mine or I like internet friend to do this thing. Do you also want to come and train here? I never really take things on like, not to be sorry, this is my like thinking space over here.
Yes.
Not to be like mysterious or like over energy, but one, to your point, like I never got a this dude's a weirdo vibe or I wouldn't
Mhm.
be speaking to you. You know what I
Right.
mean? I
Yep.
trust myself enough for that. So it's one of those things where like dark alley at midnight, maybe won't meet, but like in a mutually it's both our arena to be in the gym. I have
Yes.
confidence, you have confidence, you're self-aware of what your thing is, and this is
Hmm.
something that I wanted to like also be exposed to. So I was like,
Hmm.
yeah, this is an expert. Let's do this, you know? So
Yes.
it was one of those things. And whether you felt that way or not about it, it was new to you,
Yeah.
uh, you know, own it. You know what I mean? Like to
Yeah.
again, backpack into it, like also you, like
Right.
recognize that there are people that are seeing you in these roles beyond how you see yourself. And I
Yes.
put it in a comment, not compliment. I'm going to start shuddering. I put it in a comment like imposter syndrome was given a title to throw blame back on those of us affected by that oppressive limiting system. Like
Yes.
whether you're a female, like a woman, whether you're a person of color, a black person, whether you're below like not poverty
Uneducated, quote
line,
unquote.
but the extreme wealth line, whether you're
Yes.
not educated, because
Hmm.
like honey, life and community sharing is an education even if it didn't come from a textbook.
Right.
You know, whatever the otherness you're feeling that has been internalized and been also shoved down your throat,
Hmm.
internalized, that makes you feel less than, whatever the box you were supposed to check that you've been left feeling wanting from other people who have been dictating these roles,
Right.
they're just blaming you for their own stuff, man. Like, don't take it.
Absolutely.
Oh, no. To
Yep.
your point about know your worth. Like, I was
Mhm.
ruminating on this in the 11 minutes you gave me. To
That's how we roll. That's
apparently, I can unpack a lot in 11 minutes.
yes, you can.
But yeah, like the more you're worried about if you belong, right? Like my I'm gonna let me pause that
Hmm.
statement and then this is that weird dash thing that covers all grammar when you don't know which grammatical unit to use. If you care about something, you want to have an impact, you want to do a good job, that's when the doubt sneaks in because it's important to you. Fear is a flag that lets us know the cliff edge is near. You get to decide whether you are jumping and hope that either wings will grow or water will catch you, or being pushed off the edge, right? If you're being pushed, you don't want to do it. If you're like, I'm terrified, I'm like pooping myself, sorry. But like YOLO, and you want to take that jump, whatever it means. That's your meter stick, right?
Absolutely.
So knowing your worth comes from like, if the day of the presentation or the event or the talk or the test, you're like, crap, I have no idea what I'm doing, then it's too late. You just gotta jump and hope that either like wings or water appear, right? If you're walking into it, hi Alex, one day I'll meet you. Walking into it super confident. You know the people that like walk to the edge of the cliff and do backflips and still break their ankles? That stuff happens too. Like you can be confident and bomb. You can be totally doubtful and like thrive, right? So knowing your worth is that ability to recognize like you've done the work, you've paid your dues, whether literally or figuratively. Someone, even if one person has said, hey, I see you in this role, whether you feel you're ready or not, that should be enough to let you know that you are at least an expert in some part of the gradient. Maybe you didn't invent the thing, but there are always going to be someone coming up behind, under you that you can lend a hand to. Like you leg up does not push you down the ladder.
Exactly.
And like, shout out to my boy Mayard, like it's his birthday today. Like to your thing, a mentor that you look forward to, someone that's your peer that you work with, and someone that you're bringing up, like that is your value. Your impact in your space are always that like trifold. That's what your worth is. Who sees you as an expert, who you're looking towards and working towards, and who you're carrying with you along the way. And it's, constant tension, Pilates, and your core, right? Everything's in the core. Yourself, your sense of efficacy, your sense of worth, your sense of like value as yourself in your space to your life is your core. All the limbs are who you're impacting, your family, how you earn, how you find joy. Those are
the periphery to it.
Correct. You don't start with you, regardless of what other people have fed you. That is it. The movement's not going to work.
Absolutely. And I think that's why I use the example of a job interview at the outset, because that's a practical situation.
We're always
selling.
Sorry. Not my per se, but you're always trying to get more people, and not in the like predatory capitalist way, not to use the loaded C word right now, but in the way of like that little bit of boost, that little extra person, that little like supplementary energy to what you're putting out in the universe allows you to rush and replenish and continue to do you don't like the word affirmation, but confirmed, because confirmed means it starts with you and then other people are like mirroring that wave rather than needing it only externally. Or I mean, affirmation can be internal as well, but what I mean,
I heard you saying it's not an externally initiated
only the other. Only the other. It has to begin with you, and then when people are called to it, when people bring it back or reaffirm, I think is a better term, then that is where you're getting that like, oh, like shit, like I'm really saying something, okay, let me build on this. And you'll always have that sense of like, every time you want to get bigger, hi Kim, every time you want to get bigger, you have to fight the next demon. Like think of every game we've ever done, right? Every
Right.
time, there's a boss for every boss until you like meet at the pearly gates.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then that guy's just giving you the credits and showing you all your scores throughout your life.
Right.
Until
Yes.
you hit the next level, right?
Exactly.
Like,
so when you say like, I see you, that's one of the things
exactly that. Think
yeah.
of it in the hippie term, think of it in the social media term, think
Right.
of it, despite how your brain is, or heart or soul is perceiving yourself in that day, in that instant,
Mm-hmm.
you are seen beyond who you think you are. And like, we're never who we think we are, because we walk in our body and we have like our shadow demons. Like I constantly have, not in the like mental health and mental illness speak of like several voices. I'm not
I follow you.
belittling, minimizing, or that's a journey of its own. But like, we always have these internal monologues of like what I call my little demons that I take with me.
Right.
And sometimes they're great. And sometimes they're having an off day and they want to like kick rocks on everything. So it's up to you to decide who's like in it to join you and who you have to home, right?
Well, the way that I look at it, the way I say that for myself with those messages that I'm hearing is like, which one am I going to believe today?
Correct.
Right.
And then
because they're all there.
Necessarily the wrong one, because our like anthropological fear, negatives, and red flags are life-saving. We just have so much other stuff at our hands in this modern age. Hi, Kevin, I love you. In this modern age, to protect us from the things we'd be afraid of. Like we have weaponry and clothing and shoes and vehicles. So we're not really afraid of lions and tigers and bears. But that fear instinct in our little like homunculus man or woman or person, general man term, being, he's still doing his job of like, hey, here are giant red flags. Please listen to me. And then it's our consciousness job to be like, no, man, I have like a knife and fire and a vehicle and some money. I'm just going to go. I'm fine. You know,
feel the fear.
Sitting and listening to that person.
Feel the fear and do it anyway.
Correct. That's that's like my 2020 entire vibe. Like I'm gonna forehead, like someone.
So this conversation is powerful because we're talking about vulnerability, and it's so easy for people to look at us and be like,
ugly parts to shine, man. You gotta own. I think you and I, like 3 years, wabi sabi. Filling the cracks with gold, appreciating that the cracks are spaces to add new beauty, appreciating that, like, even to the muscular level, torn muscles build stronger. That is strength. You have to tear it to heal it, to be stronger. Call in extra energy, call in new people, call in new muscle fibers. That's how we grow, right?
Yes.
So own and recognize and know where the cracks are so you can fill them, heal them, fortify them, and then you're that like new being, that like next level. Right.
If I can just unpack that a little bit more, the kintsugi is a term, that sense of having a broken vessel, and then instead of the gold or the glue being clear glue and just putting it back together perfectly, there's gold flecks in the gold so that you can see the places where it's cracked, and the stronger the places it's broken. For myself, as a guy, we were talking about like toxic masculinity, wearing this pink sort of thing before. It took me a long time to get to a place to admit that by vocalizing my hurts or by vocalizing my struggles, whatever, wasn't actually a sign of weakness, but that's a sign of strength. It's a sign of
these scripts and lies that we've been, not lies, but
no, I call them lies. Legit, I call them lies, because the lie is that if I let you know that I'm scared, I'm weak.
Why? How are you gonna get help? How are you gonna be, if you have to fix a wall and you can't say, hi neighbor, I need a hammer and nails, how are you fixing the wall?
Right.
Maybe a wall, maybe you don't fix a wall with hammer, like a shelf.
A fence. It could be a fence. It could be like,
you know what I mean?
The
if I ask for concrete and bricks, how am I going to fix the thing, right?
I feel you. Yeah. Yes, exactly. So that's, and moving from there to this, what I call a wounded healer. right? Like when I talk about my kids, there's times where I want them to see me struggling with something, or see me tired, or see me putting extra work.
Oh,
Not because I want them to see me in that low place, because I want them to see the end result when I get through it. So I can say, you see how I handled that when I wanted to give up, but I didn't. You know, when I failed some tests, and like my son's going through his driver's test and has to do it multiple times. Like my apprenticeship, I did not pass the first time trying to do this thing, and it sucked, and I wanted to quit, and I had to have my wife talking me off the ledge, and I had to have people like, yeah, putting me back in, like, finish it, just
yeah.
finish it. That was my line forever. Like, be a finisher. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter what you start, be a finisher. So if people see you in a struggle, my motivation now is I want whoever saw me struggling to see me get through it.
But the most important person to see that is you.
Yeah.
Right?
True.
That's what we all forget. We like, oh, take the what your haters say and like prove them wrong. Man, the number one hater that's actually going to determine what you're doing is the like right here.
Yes.
So if you can't prove the negative script, if there's no second act to the negative script,
yep,
that's when you've actually like lost the plot, right? Like,
yes, absolutely.
What are, I wouldn't say 11 and 13, but I also don't know where I am in the timeline of like, we've known each other for 10 years. Is that not wild?
That's crazy. Yeah.
I'm like, okay, they were 4, and then where are we now? So
yeah,
I'm not
18 and 14.
Okay. It's like 3 years. Okay,
yes.
Perfect. Good. Awesome.
Yes.
I'm so old. Like, they love action movies, I'm sure, or at least a movie with a good storyline.
Marvel, all over it.
You intro it, whether you start at the low or you start at the high, there's some conflict, there's a micro resolution, there's the like climax of extreme conflict. They get more people, and then depending on the film, either you see it like everyone gets destroyed, because sometimes that happens in life, or everyone succeeds, right?
Yes.
So they need to see the whole movie. They need to read the whole book. You don't get to like skip chapters and skip ahead, or you're missing so much of the story. You're missing, I was not going to do this, but we're going to do it. The glory in the story. Okay. I'm so sorry. Not mean to rhyme, but we're doing it. We wrote it down.
Go on. Yes.
The journey is the joy, right?
Yes.
Like seeing this, like the waves, the bumps, the drops, like that is that's the point.
That's the point.
So giving them the grace, giving them the room and the space and the power to see you overcome, and know that now they have someone to whom they can safely go to when they are also doing these things. You've now created a shelter in your suffering.
Yes.
Right? Created the eye of the storm that they can now walk through to the other side with you. Like if that's not just like the most lovely fatherly thing, like who cares how many joys you get them if they don't have someone they can speak to about everything?
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And to keep that frame of reference too, I mean, whether you like physically journal it or you bring it back up, you have conversation. It bothers me when people have secrets and it's actually something they've overcome, but they keep it a secret anyways. I'll give you an example of that. When I went through my divorce and I went through this dark phase, and then eventually I started going back to like my church and just kind of reintegrating myself into society after my funk, right? And then I walk into my church, and now this is a different role than walking in with like your wife and your kids in arm. I'm walking in by myself because they're with mom this week, and like you're rolling in by yourself. And then, I bump into someone and it's like, oh, I went through a divorce too. I've been married to John for 25 years now. And then they go into their story, which is fine. You don't drop that on strangers, but it's interesting how people have a chapter to their life that they keep to themselves, but if it was out there, it could have been such an encouragement to others by normalizing the situation.
Totally. But I think that's currently like a Pinterest meme. Like everyone has a chapter they don't read out loud, right? But there's also a difference. I'm going to come back to the stranger thing in a second.
Yes.
And I'm like boost you heavy. Hi, Elena. Long time no see. Love you. out loud in public, like magnified, are very different things.
Yes.
Because in the stories, to never share your ugly chapter with anyone,
yes,
is lonely,
right,
and sad. And it doesn't have to be a relationship. It doesn't have to be, it could legitimately be a stranger in an elevator that you find, or a therapist, obviously, that you,
or a hairdresser, or
out like, because saying it out loud takes the monster out of it.
Absolutely.
Right? Hold on to it. It's and you keep rewriting it until you've said it out loud and shared it with someone, and it just gets worse. Right?
Right.
Broadcasting it is a very different step than sharing it out loud.
Absolutely.
Or writing it down. Writing it down is putting it out loud.
Yes. It's putting it out there.
Or your Pilates instructor. Exactly, Karen. Or your strength coach, or your bartender, or whomever that day is, you're like the person who gets hit with your truth. But yeah, like to sort of side in this like Venn diagram, like we have the stories we tell to create community and to empower others to tell their stories, including our dark chapter, but we might still edit that chapter just to not necessarily save face, just to have some sense of privacy and like self.
Absolutely. Respecting that, for sure.
Parts without the like I don't have to show you every scar on my body to tell you how I got the scars. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Right? Like Blossom was saying there, not everything's for general public consumption.
Correct.
Yes.
And then knowing and finding the people with whom you have that safe space to show the scars to. Right. So important to be allowed to heal and be allowed to speak it into the universe so you don't have to carry it.
Right.
And like there's always a version in your subconscious, even you might not even bring that to fore, that you keep to yourself. There are chapters in your life that you don't even speak to yourself, and it's not for denial, and it's not for whatever, it's just for personal
it's just not the season. You haven't processed it.
It's like the title page in, like, I don't need to know like the index of like a textbook per se, so I'll never read that index, but I know that if I one day need it, I can go to the deep diving delves at the back of the book. Right? I know the chapters I need to read, and I know the chapters that will give me the most. They're dog-eared, they're constantly being used, they're sort of weathered and loved. I don't see the index, but I know it's there. And everyone sees it. It's like, here's the index. I don't
even touch it. The Stephen Furtick had a message on the weekend where he was talking about time-lapse video, right? So it's like a time-lapse video. If I show a time-lapse video of building a Lego tower, a castle, in 3 minutes you see the whole thing. You don't see the struggle. You don't see the fact it took me 5 days to get through it. You don't see how frustrated I was or how I needed to take a break because I was fatigued. You just see this boom, 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 and it's built. Our lives become like that time-lapse video where you choose what you want people to see. You fly through at certain points, and build different. That was the message, exactly.
Like, put the info in the caption, and the people who care to delve will read the caption.
Right.
But most people don't want to read the caption. They just want to see the start and the end, so that they have a safe space to be at the start as you, and there's hope in the fact that you, a regular person, made it to the end. Right?
Yes. Like, that's what they need to see.
Is permission to keep hope.
Yes.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Super cycling back, because that's what I do. Again,
Stranger.
Have that energy. It doesn't matter if it's social media. It doesn't matter if it's real life. It doesn't matter if it's you as a class instructor. You give off, and it definitely has grown and thrived and magnified in the time I've known you, because I knew you pre-divorce. I knew you in the like bridge walking over that divorce, and I knew you in this resurgence to where you are now, and the pre-Alex love family read pod that you have going on now, which is gorgeous to see, by the way. Also hope. You just exude this safety. And I mean this with the utmost love. And like, I hate saying safety because there's this whole fallacy of like friend zone and you're safe. And it's supposed to also toxic masculinity and like how you're supposed to perceive other humans in space as like potential for usage. But I don't mean it that way. I mean it genuinely. Like, you put out this energy of like, you know who I should talk to about this? This guy. And like, I know your name and I know your like CV, but you will just be the guy in the pink hoodie in the elevator or in the hallway, and someone's going to be like, life story and the dark chapter. Like,
yes.
Are in the church pew, let's say. And like the fact that you're in a place that traditionally eschews the whole like divorce is failure, it's anti-Eucharistic, it's anti, like, you're going against the sacrament if you divorce. But it's
the
like
institution. Yes.
Is it actually like God loving to remain in a space that's just constantly doing both parties harm? Or are y'all just mad that like the king isn't getting our gold fronds this week? Like, where did the myth of divorce being anti-church, not myth, excuse me, but the like the legend? Well, why are we still holding divorce as this like black mark when it's recognizing these cracks and allowing the other person space to now fill their cracks with their own gold glue?
Right.
As opposed to just creating these like horrid spaces in each other, right? Someone said no, but I don't know what.
That's my brother.
I'm sorry, Ferbert. No.
Phil, actually, Phil, put what you mean in the comment section or expand on that.
Please satiate. Please expound.
Yes. Is your sister in here too? I think I saw her pop up.
If you did, I did not, but she's doing a step class right above me, which is so funny.
Awesome.
Currently like potting at home.
Yes.
The COVID home pod. So I'm sitting in our gym, like,
yes.
Also like my condo is right there. But like I'm sitting in my gym / basement / my old bedroom from 1,000 years ago. Just to like not be scream yelling, because you know that my voice is not soft at all. Even my whispers are like, hey, come over. I sound like Anthony, like I sound like a basketball coach from the 70s.
Or just Doc Rivers. Yeah.
Involvement has led to more divorce. I mean, it's a tax. Some always saw it as a tax break and like a loophole to things, right? Like, beard and the bag have been a long-standing thing in several communities. But I think we are all recognizing that while the earth is like simultaneously on fire and hell has that like people need to just give up the checked boxes and
and just live their lives.
We had like a summer of hell, and now hell is frozen over. So let's just be human beings again and maybe care about each other. And it should
please, right?
And floods will come. It's fine. I can't wait. I love
it. When Erin Jones was on here yesterday, and she was talking about giving people space. Like, we have this story behind what we see, right? And all these different things. I want to change gears in a second, but I just wanted to throw this out before, like, we're at 46 minutes already. Like, that's how fast this is going. So giving space is interesting because, as you said already, I've known you through so many different life phases that I've gone through.
And so many fights.
Yeah. And we have people that are in our world at different levels. And you've always been one of the quote unquote safe space people for me too. We can talk shop, we can talk fitness, we can just do our thing. And whatever turmoil is going on out there, I know that, you know, we could cross paths and we could just talk, and I could just be in a moment.
Yeah.
And we talk and we are in a moment. And I love that about you, and just that's what you carry. in such a real way. So thank you for being that for me over the years. I really do appreciate that.
My pleasure. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I think holding space, people hear this term holding space.
Yes.
And I think it's sort of been, aside from genuine therapy context, and to the point of therapy context, like holding space for a person is allowing them this like bubble or safety net to sort of work out the choreography that they would like to present to a general public,
the rest of the world. Yeah.
The fear of judgment or judgment's not fair, because like it's my job to not judge you, but to throw questions at you or to like verbalize things that you don't know you need to think about in order to better formulate what you're moving forward. So it's sort of the whole premise behind going to therapy, but it's no longer a stranger where you fear people knowing your secrets to judge you by, right? The space that you give people is the grace to leave their past in the past, but give them all the good things you know about them as a safety net for the things they're currently working on. I'm not going to hold.
Can I give you the word?
Pardon?
Can I give you the word that you're looking for in all of what you're saying there? It's rewriting their script.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. Right? I just take out I don't need you to rehash all the errors.
Right, exactly.
Cole's notes of all the all good things. Don't forget about this good thing, and this will help the thing you're working on.
And now we're going to condense all of that.
Correct.
And give you that new script. Correct. And interesting, like,
battery
and that's yes, exactly. So that's what happens, and then we go through different things. And for those of you out there listening to this conversation, think about the next time you share your story from a dark chapter of your life. Think about how you construct it and how you put it out there, and listen to what you say about it. Because when you were, say, 3 weeks out from when that event happened, how did you share it? When you were like 5 years out from when that event happened, how did you share it? 10 years out, how did you share it? Because you may have said, this person did this to me and it really hurt me. And then next time it comes around, you're like, this happened in my life. And the next time it comes around, it's like, yeah, I've been there. Like, you know what I mean?
Person was extreme. Like,
yes.
It's, I take things back just like viscerally and visually. Like, think of like physical trauma. Think of an injury.
Yes.
Right? I get stabbed. I'm like, oh no, a gaping wound and I'm bleeding. I get the stitches. Like, here are the stitches. This is how it happened. And then you have a scar and it's like, oh man, that was a crazy story. I basically got stabbed and then I got stitches. And you move on with your day.
Yes. Like, perfect.
You fluff through it when it's genuinely healed. But if you don't take the 3 weeks to stare at the wound and sort of play with the stab and hope the stitches stick, you don't get the chance to see the healing. And I think the storytelling is each of us sharing the stages of our healing, sharing the stages of going through the stitches, going through and it's like, it's reconciling, no, because that makes it
sense.
Fallout. But when you reconnect with someone, or when you have you regain a closeness with someone who you've known for a very long time, but not necessarily been close with for the entire time. Like us. We basically do these strange, and flow. And I've never felt that we've had a falling out or we weren't friends. It just, we weren't called to be that active in a role in each other's lives, but we always knew. That makes sense?
Perfectly. That was accurate.
Yeah. So it's knowing how you got if the person that knows the real story and gets to see you with the scar and gets to hear how you talk about the scar, knowing how painful that was, it's the most beautiful, lovely thing to see. Wow, you've healed so well in barely that scar. I love here. That was a wild and crazy night. I'm so glad you trusted me to like bandage it up with you. Like, you know what I mean? Like it puts such a different spin on it. And I think that's what the space holding is.
Absolutely.
I think space holding is being like, but don't forget that was super painful and look how nice it looks. And
Yes.
now you got I've fluffed the story for you. I've given you the Coles, like, here's the textbook. Here's my notes from that class. Now you go with the notes.
Yes.
And that test, right?
Right. Absolutely. So you're a firefighter now?
Yeah, I am fully trained, fully certified, raring to go, unemployed firefighter. I do not currently have a department career placement, but COVID, right? We lost 10 months active applications. We lost a lot of we lost 3 intake classes, we being like fire waiting at the gate fire folks. So it's just sort of this like gap year by default. So now that things are opening back up, I'm getting, re-energized, feeling not much better. I try not to let things that I genuinely have no control over dictate my sense of control. I cannot control a global pandemic. I cannot control what they do with it.
That's good self-talk right there. Good stuff.
Feel and stay in shape, right? Like what can I control? I can control my cardiovascular efforts. I can control that I'm ready to pass any fitness test when it goes. I can make sure that I keep my information up to date and up to speed and level up where I can level up with online courses. So I'm still at the forefront of this application phase, along with the additional however many new students that we're doing it online this year, right? We're coming into this triple cohort now that we each had our time to apply and hope for the best. And now we're all right here.
Yes.
So it's being able to actively put my energy where the energy will have impact has been my sanity and my saving grace. So doing cardio for the sake of my heart health and my lung health,
moving meditation.
Just coming back to myself and so I'm not good at meditation in as much as I know you're supposed to let the ideas come and go, but I'll be like, oh, there's an idea. I should write that down and then also do these 15 other things. And look, there's laundry to do. So I go through daily lists and I focus on my breathing and I go through my checklist, and then my checklist of to-do things also has what I have to do, what I want to accomplish from it, where my next step may be. And that's how I regulate my thought pattern and my breathing.
Yes.
Because I'm fully golden retriever squirrel ADD when trying to sit down and find calm. Right. If you didn't pick that up.
Right.
This is how I meditate.
Yes.
So yeah, or I have to do full on theta wave, 700 hertz hypnosis is the only other way I meditate, where I legit just blackout hypnosis somewhere in that tertiary brain level. Breathing, and then I wake up and it's a day later.
Yes. And I just asked you about firefighting and now we're on meditation.
Correct.
Right.
But shouldn't we be? Because firefighters, to your point of toxic masculinity, old roles, old misgivings, the lies we tell, women firefighters, people of color. I'm not gonna diverge to the sad parts, but if you Google, bullying, racism, misogyny. I was not going to talk about misogynoir, but I just dropped the word right there. There are communities, there are departments where people are being driven to suicide because they're not a good old boy white dude. You know what I mean? So I need to have those tools to remember that none of the things that I might encounter from that sphere have to do with me. It's people holding on to old ideas,
clinging,
and hoping not out with the new blood, because no one likes to see their need be omitted.
You're rendered obsolete, right?
Rendered obsolete. That's the word I was looking for. The old Mac versus PC versus Mac debate, right?
Right. Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Millennial. An entire Reddit subgroup about side parts. you've got too much time on your hands. We need to get you back to school. If you're worried about hairstyles and don't recognize that the trends that are hip for Gen Z right now are mom jeans from the 70s and Crocs. Like, bro, you're lying to yourself. It's fun. But to go all the way full circle back to firefighting, like,
yes.
you know, you do what you can where you can. When you have access to these things, that you strike, right? Like,
right.
As soon as an application opens up, I'm confident in the knowledge that I passed the physical.
Yes.
I have done my due diligence in terms of organizing and looking into those departments. I've kept my general knowledge up and my muscle memory by doing the tests that I have to do to make sure that my certifications are all valid and current the day that they open an application. Yes. With the like minute and a half I may have before you close out. Why? I am strong AF. I love the team dynamic. It sounds so cheesy, but like I miss being part of a team, and like what's a better team than 4 people kicking ass, being strong, and like saving lives and impacting a community. And like, you meet in first response, you meet people on potentially the worst day of their life.
Yes.
You have the ability to make it a little bit better and stop it from becoming the last day of their life. Like, give me all of that. I want to use my like magic powers for good. And the nice thing, or not nice, but that's just one of those words that fill the gaps. I can still do my favorite parts of coaching and guiding and mentoring and programming with that job, as long as I maintain time management. My one-on-one in-person training might go by the way of the Wendigo, but COVID basically showed a lot of people that like in-person is a gradient, like FaceTime and Zoom. If that's what you have to work in person, that is your in person, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you, Herbert. I try to be very cognizant of other people's time, and I know that this is a pitfall and this is a bad habit, but I put you right back on the train that I derailed. I promise.
No, you will, exactly. And this is the dangerous combination because I'm a listener, right? So I'll just give you one question and just cut you loose, right? Like,
I'm trying to be better at it. I'm like, I hope that like my energy of like vomiting words on you, and I try to vomit love words on you so that at least you're also given some of that power back.
Yes.
That is like the relationship that like I'm being better about holding space and allowing people and asking good, helpful questions. If that's my ability to speak, I'm like, let me ask you the questions that even if you don't feel like you want to speak it, you can think about it, ruminate it, and it will still give you that empowerment to like have time to write it down or be able to use it in some way.
Yes, absolutely. You, in why firefighting, as you just answered, you answer the same question I always ask myself is, how do I marry all of my passions?
Yeah.
And all the things that are important to me in a way that I can be alive and not just live.
Yeah. Thrive bigger, thrive better, and thrive to have, you know, the most impactful impact. Like, how do I do the best good for myself and the people around me is mostly part of my meditation, my furious list making is like, what do I need? What can I do today to do the best good for myself and the people around me? Right. That's my focal point.
I just shared that in a podcast, the Rise podcast that just came out on Monday.
And
and basically just said what you just said right there. And for me, that's just how I live my life. That's just a default. I didn't like wake up one day and say, I'm going to write down this, and this is my vision board of how I'm going to actually do this. But like JC said, like thrive bigger. Like I feel like this is just it. Like we just continue to strive and just thrive bigger, and just, that's my definition of greatness. Be able to just have that massive impact in a way that's authentic to me.
Right? Like I am grateful every single day that I still get the opportunity to try and do more tomorrow. I I posted a picture. I was in the ambulance because I do medical transfer right now as my interim like job. Looks great on a resume, but also very applicable to the soft skills of firefighting, obviously.
Yes.
And it's essential, and I get to feel like I'm making an impact. So I'm tooling home through snow and like stuff like that. And I look up, I'm not driving, thankfully. I was rigged too, but there's like the sun setting, this beautiful pinescape. We were in like Collingwood or Midland, snow-felled fields, like horses eating, and just this crack of rainbow that was just this weird trick of the light. And I literally had a moment where I was like, holy crap,
Phil.
we are like living meat sticks on a rock in space, and I'm currently looking over the edge of my rock marble at a flaming ball in space. And that light reflect, like, who gave me the right? Like,
Yes.
you know what I mean?
Yes.
We're one in like, I can't remember what the actual like biological sperm count to create a person, like 500 million or something like that. But
Yes.
like we're meat stick miracles. Like we should not be. Who gave us the right to be here? We got to do something while we're here. So
Yes.
it's one of the things. And if you can have one of those moments, not every day, but like if you can just come back to that in the days where
Absolutely.
you're great, it
Yes.
really sets you off for the next day.
It does. I had this moment a few weeks ago, and I shared it here as my open, where we're having these conversations about white privilege and this privilege and that privilege. And I had my morning of journaling, and I was rushing back to the gym to start my day. And there's this long lineup of cars and people getting frustrated because they're trying to get to work, and this car is turning in. And finally I get to the front of the line, and the guy is turning into the cemetery. And as much as it's like 8 o'clock on a Friday morning, and we're right in the middle of this Black Lives Matters, and everyone's really tight, and everyone's throwing all these privilege words out. I was like, it just came in my spirit, like, breath is a privilege.
Yeah.
Breath, like
Breath.
the fact that
like
yes, you know what I mean? Like, put things back in perspective.
Like, there's all, I try comparison is the thief of joy, right? You know that.
Absolutely.
Whether you're comparing up or comparing down, I refuse to frame my gratitude in I have more than others. But sometimes you're just shaken to the core by the things you take for granted.
Yes, it's grounding.
Take the minute to recognize, like, fuck, like, despite, sorry for swearing, I don't know if it's a family. I did so good up until
We're overtime, so we're good. It's good. No, like, we'll lock it up.
Sometimes you're like, all of these things are going bad, and then you're like, but you know what? Like, I woke up, I'm not on a ventilator, not to be ableist, but all my limbs and functions work. Like, I do not take that for granted ever, which is also kind of why I spun into firefighting, because I was like, wow, like, I'm not doing enough just lifting. Like, I need to do something with this.
With this.
400 into one. There we go. Thank you, Jay.
Yes.
But like, there's just so many other things could have gone wrong. Just take a second to be super happy with the like 3 things that went right today. Just find 3 things.
Yep.
Like, I woke up, I had water to bathe, and I probably ate something, or at least like threw down a tea or coffee if I have bad morning habits and don't take time, like 5 minutes for myself.
Right.
I have the luxury of opting out of breakfast.
Thank you. Yes.
Like, how dare I? I should have sat down and ate something, because I have a table to sit at, an implement to cook food, and food in my fridge. Like, how dare I? Why am I eating 6 Sour Kids that I found in my cup holder? That's not okay.
Right. Yes. Craziness.
Right? Like, breath. Again, like, that's the number one. If your eyes opened and you took that breath, you've already made it.
Yep. Absolutely.
Do more.
Yep.
And not in the like weird gym bro, like, no, quit and blah. No, like, take another breath.
I love you had to like
I had
package that properly. Yeah, this is paraphrasing.
There are days off, but
Yeah.
there's only day off is the day you don't wake up. So as long as you're still here, that's not a day off. Do something to enhance your life.
Yeah.
And like, have a good day. And if you're not having a good day, don't mess up someone else's day. That's, that's it.
Yeah.
Be kind. Or at least take a minute. If you can't be kind, don't be an asshole. There's a lot of space in there. There's a lot of space in there.
Yes. Like Joel just said here, we have the privilege of fasting if we want to, not because we're forced to.
Right? The only time I'm forced to not eat for 12 hours at a time is the fact that I have the luxury of medical care that allows me to go get an x-ray or internal medicine done. And that's because someone else was like, hey, it's probably better if you don't poop yourself when we put this like drugs in you.
Yeah.
Like,
right. Yes.
It up. It sucks. Can you not eat? Thank you. Like that's the only reason why. Like.
Yes.
Oh.
Yep. So good.
But yeah.
I would say this was a good chat.
I think coming to like medicine and breath is a good way to close it out.
I concur. Yes. Make the most of today.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah.
I have my off day out of the ambulance is like, okay, now I've taught a class, I've taught a client, I've done my cardio, I've bathed before 1 p.m. This is huge. Thank you, but also you're welcome.
Yes.
And now I get to go like send out invoices for the luxury of doing a job from home safely and check in with all my loving and lovely clients who have stuck with me through everyone trying to pivot like through the global madness.
Right.
And yeah, like again, thrive bigger, find a moment for gratitude, take a deep breath and just take another step, like do something.
Yes.
There's always something you can do. So do the thing.
Yes. I enjoy walking this life with you.
Likewise. And I love that the pink is perfect. Just don't let anyone tell you otherwise. It's perfect. It's great.
Thank you. All right. Okay, I'm going to sign you off. Thanks again for joining me today. Such a great chat. Thank you, everyone who has been in this chat and just jumping in. We really appreciate all of you. This is why I think she's so awesome. All right. Take care. Amazing. Guys, thank you so much for joining us today. We have Jean Riley joining us tomorrow at 11 o'clock instead of 10 o'clock. So we're an hour later tomorrow, accommodating our West Coast peeps. Yes, it's early for you guys. So let's do 11 o'clock tomorrow. I'll send a reminder. And I have one more thing. I have the Movement Refinery from Melbourne, Australia, 7 p.m. So we have 2 core conversations tomorrow. So we have an AM and a PM to accommodate our Australia peeps. So we got West Coast and then whatever coast that is in Australia. So 11 and 7 tomorrow. I should put a post up from now in case someone forgets. See you guys tomorrow, core conversations. We got 2. Peace out.